Just like we go up and down. Dig, 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 dig. And that's so kind of.
Pumpkin spice latte, scented candle. Pumpkin spice latte. It is so cute. Happy Monday. So I'm going to show you a game that we played in first grade today to come up with the parts of 10. It was a game inside of Engage New York. It was a lot of fun. The kids did great. They had a lot of fun with it. So I'm going to share that with you. What you need is 10 counters and a cup or a container where you can't see through. And I set it up and I told the kids we have some secret superheroes in the classroom that have X-rated vision. And they were like, oh, what's going on? They were really excited about that already. And then I showed them that I have 10 counters and I put them on the table. I counted the counters with them so they knew exactly how many there were. We always put 5 on top and then we put 5 on the bottom. And I wanted to make sure that they were all the same color to make it a little bit clear on what was missing so they're not worried about like which color or what animal. I wanted them to really just focus on the numbers. And then I said, how many do we have? 10. We all counted. Everybody knew there was 10. And then I put the cup here and then I told them, okay, everybody has to close their eyes and I'm going to take some away. So everybody would close their eyes and then I would take some from here and put it inside the cup. And then I would close the cup and I would say, okay, how many are inside the cup? And then if they could guess the number right, I was like, oh my gosh, you're a superhero. You have X-rated vision. How did you know that, the right number inside the cup? And they loved playing this game. We played it with all the parts, the different parts of 10. It was perfect. They loved it. It was fun. They were thinking, they were writing down their answers, and then they showed it to me on their dry erase boards. It was beautiful. They were on task. In second grade, we finished covering all the different strategies on adding and subtracting and thinking 10 strategies. So today we were going to have our assessment, and before the assessment I kind of wanted to see like, okay, where are they, how are they doing? And I gave them a couple of examples and I noticed that they were struggling with figuring out which strategy to apply. So for example, when we practiced subtracting numbers like this, let's say 58 minus 2. So we did practices on what do you take the 2 away from? Do you take it away from the ones place or do you take it away from the tens place? If there is enough, we take it from the ones place. So okay, then we would take it apart like this. We would say 58 minus 2. 8 minus 2 is 6. And then we add what's left over. 50 plus 6 is 56. So we did many, many, many problems that were just like this, where there was enough and you could just take the 1 from the ones, which is nice and easy. And then we also did many problems on a different day once they got the hang of this. We did it where it was not enough. So we have, again, let's say we have 58 minus 9. And then we talked about, do you take it from the ones or the tens? Oh, we can't take it from the ones because there isn't enough. So now they knew they had to take it from the tens. And then we practiced taking this apart to make sure that there's a 10 here. They knew this was 48. So we practiced even before we did this part. We practiced taking numbers apart where you have a 10 and another number. So they all know how to get to this first. And then when we realized, okay, we need to take away the 9 and it's not enough, they set it up this way, minus the 9. 10 minus 9 is 1. 48 plus 1 is 49. And they were able to do this one perfectly without a problem. So we practiced, we did a lot of those kind of problems. And then, so today when I wanted to see how they're doing, where they're at, I mixed it up for them. So I gave them 2 problems. I'll give you the example, 58 minus 2 again, and then 58 minus 9. They were confused and they were not sure which strategy to apply. When we practice over and over one way, they remember, oh, these were the steps. This is how I was supposed to take it apart. And then when we practiced it for this one, they remembered how we took that apart. But when we mixed them, they were like, ooh, what do I use? I'm not sure. Do I take this apart by saying 50 plus 8? Oh, if I did that, that's not helping me. This needed to be, 48 plus 10. That was going to help me. So for tomorrow's lesson, I'm going to not give them the assessments because clearly, even though they're able to do it, they didn't have the practice of which strategy and seeing them mixed up together. So that's what we're going to work on tomorrow. We're going to work on adding and subtracting numbers and using different strategies and really thinking through which strategy is going to help me subtract this problem the quickest and easiest way. So that's what we're working on tomorrow in second grade math. I mean, there's no point in giving the assessment. Clearly, they were not going to do really, really well because they were confused about what strategy to apply. All right, friends, it is 5:48. I am going home. I hope you had a great day. See you tomorrow. Bye. Hello, it is Tuesday after school. Actually, it's, school's been out for at least 2 hours. It is 6 p.m. right now. I am done with everything. I mean, of course, a teacher's never done, right? There's still so many things to get done, but I'm done as in I'm tired. I'm not going to do anything else. I'm just going to go home. It is raining and pouring and really ugly and gloomy outside. Oh, and I don't want to be in that traffic, but what are you going to do, right? Luckily, I don't have a long commute. Hopefully, traffic isn't too bad. It was a good day, no problems. In second grade math, we really pushed for those strategies. They really got it. We just focused on addition today and the strategies to use when the problem is an addition problem. Tomorrow, I'm going to push for the 2 different strategies they learned for a subtraction problem. And then on, so today's Tuesday, Wednesday, on Thursday, we're going to mix it up, addition and subtraction. So they're going to have to decide which strategy, which strategy to choose out of 4 options. So we'll see how that goes. And hopefully by the end of Thursday, I'll get a better idea of how the kids are doing. If they really, I feel like if I'm confident and I know they got it, I'm going to go ahead and give their assessments on Friday. Originally, I was thinking of giving their assessments last Friday. Clearly, they weren't ready for it. They really needed this extra week, and I'm happy to give it to them. There's no point in moving on unless they got it. So we're focusing on that again tomorrow. My first graders are still taking apart numbers, and they're finding missing add-ins. That's what we're focused on right now. Kindergarten, we officially finished our shapes unit. Today, I finished my last math assessments, which I'm really happy to finish. However, I did notice a couple of students really still need support. So I don't want to move on to the next unit quite yet. The one thing that my students did struggle with, I think this was above all of the students, all students struggled with this, is regrouping them. When I say regrouping them, I asked them to make a sort. I gave them a bin of flat shapes and 3-dimensional solid shapes, and they were all mixed. The first group, I asked them to separate. I said, make one group of flat shapes, one group of solid shapes. They all did wonderful there. And then when I put all the shapes back in the bin and I said, okay, you can make 2 different groups, but you choose how you want to separate them. They were really stuck with that. Some kids randomly just made 2 groups and they had no idea how to describe them because it was just random. Some kids just repeated the same group and just put the flats and the solids together. I think there was maybe 1 or 2 students that were able to do it. Some kids were able to do it with scaffolding, and I went really down to the basic, like, oh, we can make a group of blues and not blues, or cubes and not cubes. So, I mean, I just brought it down to the basic, but I see that they need more experience with that. We haven't done a whole lot of that. We had some activities, but I guess it wasn't enough. So instead of moving on to the next unit tomorrow in kindergarten math, I'm going to focus on, first we're going to finish our game that we played today. We played a game about attributes. I wanted them to be able to describe and compare in as many different ways as they can. So we played that game, but we didn't finish. I wanted to give every kid a chance to come up. What we did was I had all the kids sit down, and then they had to think about a shape that they wanted to talk about, that they felt good about. Then they would come to the board, and then they had to use attributes, and they talk about and tell me, describe the attributes of the shape that they chose. And then for every sentence that they made to describe the shape, so for example, for the cube, if a kid said, oh, it has 6 faces, they got 1 point. If he said, this is a 3-dimensional solid, got another point. If he said, this is not a flat shape, got another point. And then I would just tally and mark it. And then at the end, when they couldn't think of any more, if there were other students that had other ideas they wanted to give for that specific shape, the student had the chance to choose a friend, and they would say, oh, like you forgot to say it also has 4 sides, or it has a point, etc. And then whoever gave that suggestion, if they were correct, they would get a point next to their name. So I only had, I think, about 4 kids finish. So tomorrow I'm going to have another 4 go. So we're going to continue that as we continue this unit, because I'm not going to wrap up the unit until we really have a good grasp on making those groupings. And then after we finish that game, we're going to do a whole group sorting. I'm just going to have them sort each other with their friends. They always love doing that. After that, we're going to do sorting of actual manipulatives. So we'll see how that works out. I really want to give them as many opportunities as I can to make sure that they are able to regroup and come up with different groups and explain their thinking. So that's what we're going to focus on tomorrow in kindergarten math. At the end of the day tomorrow, I have my social studies unit, which I'm going to have my observation. My principal will be coming in for that. We had our debrief today. For that, tomorrow we're starting with our social emotional. I'm going to have one of our friends come up. We do our fantastic friend. What we do is we outline the student's shape, and then we talk about the characteristics of all the students, and the kids go around on the rug, raise their hand, and then they say something nice about that student, and I write it out for them. So we're going to start with that, and then afterwards we're going to do a poem. We've been doing reading and analyzing poems. Tomorrow is the last one. Each poem is tied into a feeling. So for example, today we read a poem about being grateful. Tomorrow's poem, I think, is called Being Elated. And so they're learning different ways to express their feelings, and they're also learning about poetry. So tomorrow, since it is our last poem that we're going to read, we're also going to come up with rhyming words, and we're going to dive into writing poems of our own. So we'll see how that goes. I haven't mapped it out completely yet in my head. I'm going to think about that tonight when I go home. All in all, it was a great day. We have a lot of great days. I have great kids. Now I'm going to go home to my 2 kids, my 2 teenagers. So I hope you had a wonderful day, and see you tomorrow. Bye. Wednesday after school. It is 4:25. Everybody's out early today. I'm not going to stay late today, so I'm happy about that. I'm going to do a little bit of recording, and then I'm going to bring my work home and work from home today. So what I have to work on today at home is I'm going to read up a little bit and do some research on helping teach children how to write poetry. So I know a little bit. That's why I kind of felt okay and confident in going to today's lesson. However, the lesson did not go as well as I hoped. We finished reading the last poem, and the kids did a really good job about understanding the poetry, focusing on what we heard in the poem instead of adding our own into it. We found the rhyming words. Oh, you know what? Now that I said that to you right now, I just realized I forgot to have them look for the rhyming words in the poem. I was going to do that, flew out my mind. It happens, teacher's brain. That's why I always call it, when I can't remember to do something, I'm like teacher brain. My brain is tired. First it was like mom brain, now it's like mom brain plus teacher brain. Doesn't equal to anything good. So I did forget to do that. At the end of the lesson, once we were done discussing the poetry, we talked about rhyming words then. And then we started by describing a feeling. So I wrote down on the board, I feel happy. And then we thought about words that rhymed with happy. The kids came up with words like tappy, flappy, and nappy. Those were the 3 words they came up with, which was awesome. So every time they came up with a rhyming word, we made a sentence out of it, and then we wrote the poem together. It went something like this. I feel happy, I need to take a nappy, my hands are flappy, my feet are tappy, or my feet were tappy, something like that. It turned out pretty cute, but having the kids write poetry using words that rhyme is really, really difficult. I anticipated scaffolding because whenever we're doing literacy and writing, I'm always scaffolding because, you know, the different grade levels, kindergarten, first and second grade. And I do have a TA in here with me, and she's super helpful, but it was still not enough. A lot of kids, everybody needed help. There was not a single kid in here that was able to do it without support. And it's really hard to scaffold and support everybody at the same time as a whole group. So that was a big fail on my part. Going into teaching something like that for 3 grade levels was a big mistake. So what I'm going to do moving forward is I plan on putting this poetry writing section in small group centers so that I can pull, just like I pull for guided reading and I pull for guided math, I will pull for guided writing poetry. And this way I can sit with them and help them and focus on the couple of students at one time instead of the whole class, everybody needing help. You know it's a disaster when everybody's asking for help. That means they don't know it, you weren't able to teach it. So yeah, that's how that went. Other than that, everything else went great. Oh, I have to share this game. One of my parents submitted a game, which was awesome because she was the only parent that submitted, where you sit in a circle and then there's a gift that's wrapped up in a couple different layers, and you play the music and everybody passes the gift around, just like hot potato, you would pass it around. And when the music stops, whoever's holding the gift opens one layer, and then you continue rotating it again, going around the circle. When the music stops, whoever's holding it opens another layer. You do the same thing until it's the last layer, and whoever has the last layer gets to keep the gift. So inside the gift, we played this game yesterday and we played it again today. I put enough prizes that whoever gets it had the option to share the gift with everybody or keep it to themselves. So yesterday we had a student that won and she shared it with everybody, which was awesome. I was like, yes. And I kind of knew that student would have shared it, so I didn't have any doubt in my mind. But it was great to have yesterday's experience where the one student shared and we talked about how good it felt that everybody shared with you. So there was more of a chance that the student that got picked today, that won the prize today, would also share. But I'm still like, I don't know, are they going to share or not? So we came to that student that won today, of course, and then I was like, are you going to keep the prize, all of it to yourself, or are you going to share it with your friends? And it was like a box of stickers. So it's not like this crazy, amazing thing. Kids love winning and they love keeping everything to themselves. So this one particular student just paused and really had to think. And it was so silent in the classroom. And I was like, oh my God, please say, I'll share, please share. And then I started to talk about saying how good it feels to share. And then that kid had already said, okay, I'll share. I was like, yes, that was a win. I was so happy. That kid said share, and then of course everybody else was happy that he's gonna share because everybody gets a little pride. So that student put it on their cubby, and then at the end of the day, the student was able to pass out the prize, and everybody got one. And the couple that was left, they got to take the extras home. That student got to take the extras home, which was awesome. So that was the highlight of today, is that one particular student, or some of the students that I thought wouldn't share, shared. Yeah, so all in all, it was a good Wednesday. 2 more days to go, and then it's Friday. Tomorrow's a special day. I have one of my teacher friends who is also a parent in my classroom. She's coming in tomorrow. She's going to do a cooking demonstration for us. Excellent. So excited to have that going on tomorrow. I know the kids are going to be excited to do that. See you later. Bye. How cute is this? Pumpkin spice latte scented candle. Pumpkin spice latte. It is so cute. And there's a message. It says, our kids have fallen for you. Thank you, PA families. I mean, these are just adorable. I feel so spoiled. I'm gonna completely enjoy that. Thank you so much to our parents. It is, I love telling you apparently what time it is. It is 7:09. I am in my classroom. I am ready to go and get the day started. I am feeling a little tired. My coffee yet? You know, when you have so many things to do and your brain is racing, but your body is kind of like, I just want to go back to bed and stay under my covers, especially since you can really feel the crisp fall weather. It's chilly outside, and we're not opening the heat in the house yet. It's not that cold, but it's cold enough to be snuggling under your blankets. I'm gonna pause here and go get some coffee so I can kind of wake up a little bit more, and then wrap my mind around what I have to get done for the day. I'll be back. I really do want to start the new unit. I might get the materials ready for that one right now. We just start the new unit. Since I'm done with my assessments for the shapes, and we did a lot of practice. There's only 2 kids that didn't get to come up to the board and describe a shape and tell us all about the attributes. So I'm gonna let them finish that today. That should probably take about 10 minutes max. And then after that, we should start our new unit. That'll be exciting. Okay, now I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get ready for our new unit for math for kindergarten, which means I have to update our classroom website so the parents know we're starting a new unit. I will send information on how each child did on their assessments via email over the weekend, because I won't get to do it today or tomorrow. And then for social studies today, I have a parent coming in, like I said yesterday, to do a cooking activity, so that's all set. And then afterwards I have my read aloud. We're good. Okay, just gotta get ready now. Finally over. It was a long day. It was a really long day today. Kids were a little off today. I felt a little off today. I don't know what it was. Our morning was great. I think at lunchtime we lost it a little bit. You know what it was? I got distracted at lunchtime. So when I get distracted, the kids are distracted. After lunch, I have on Thursdays, which is today, I have kindergarten literacy. But instead of keeping the kindergartners and sending my first and second graders to the literacy teacher, I sent the wrong group. Even though I had prepared in the morning for my kindergarten literacy groups, I was completely like, I lost something. I don't know what it was, but when I'm distracted, I'm not here. So it was great because the literacy teacher, she was like, wait a second, I don't have kindergarten today. So I was like, oops. Luckily, we're just across the hall from each other, so it wasn't a big deal. We just probably lost like 2 minutes. No problem. We just switched the kiddos. And then we started literacy. Literacy went great. We did guided reading groups. We did some sight words. We practiced writing. We focused on going over some of the letters that had already been introduced, especially with the writing, because some of the kids are still making their A's look like letter Q's. They're not really doing that, like going up and down. They just draw their circle and then draw a line down, which ends up looking more like an uppercase Q instead of an A. So we practiced some of those letters, the confusion between the letters D and B. We worked on that a little bit. And then we did our regular phonics instruction, so that was done. And then afterwards, they got a little bit of a break. We did a brain break on Go Noodle. I love Go Noodle. They love Go Noodle. It's a great site. And then afterwards, we did math. Math was great. So today in math, kindergarten started a new unit, which is measurements. We started with length today. We worked on the concept of what's shorter and longer. We worked on length. It was interesting to see if kids understood that something that is taller is still taller, even if you manipulate stuff. So for example, if I showed them 2 markers and I asked them, which one is longer, I would just show it like this, and then they would say, oh, they're both the same height, because they can't see that, I'm hiding the bottom of it. You can't tell. I demonstrated this with myself and another student. I stood next to them and they were like, oh, Miss Winda's bigger. And then I had the same student stand on a chair next to me and they were like, oh, Miss Winda's still bigger, because I was still taller than her. And then I sat down next to her. I sat on a chair, she stood on a chair. And then they were like, oh, like that student is taller now. Miss Winda's not taller. So, and then we talked about, well, really, like, am I still not taller? I might look shorter, but am I still taller? Yes. And then we discussed, for real. That was one of the words that the kids used to describe it. He said, for real, you're still taller, for real. Then we talked about what does it mean for real, and how do we know which one is taller. And then we came to the conclusion that if we wanted to know for real, for sure, that we had to make sure that the bottoms were lined up. And if I made sure that the bottoms are lined up, the kids could clearly see, oh, the green marker is taller than the red marker. So that was great for them to come to that conclusion on their own. And then we did the same thing. We experimented with 2 strings of different lengths. So we did the same thing with strings. And then we did the same thing with 2 different strips of paper. I gave them a brown sheet of construction paper and a pink sheet of construction paper, and they had to see, which one is taller, which one is shorter. You can manipulate it by like covering the bottom. And I wanted them to, they worked in partners to see if they can trick each other or manipulate the paper in a way to show one is longer than the other when it isn't. So they got to play around with that a little bit. And then we had a worksheet that went along with it. So they got their new math workbooks. And then this is again from Engage New York. So they had to, it says, draw a flower that is taller than the vase. And then a lot of kids wanted to draw the flower inside the vase. And we talked about why it's not a good idea to put the flower inside the vase, because you can't really see. We wanted to make sure that they were lining them up at the bottom so we can clearly see for real which one is taller or shorter. And they did that with the tree as well. The tree is taller. Not sure what happened here. That student forgot to circle which one is taller. And then on the other side of the page, the focus was circling the shorter one. So they compare the items and circle the shorter ones, and then they had to draw a bookmark that was shorter and a crayon that was shorter. I'm really impressed with this student because they really clearly drew them in line and got that concept. I did walk around and see a couple students that were, for example, drawing their flowers in the air. And I commented and reminded them, oh, you know, if you're not drawing them starting in the same baseline, are you for sure that it is shorter or taller? Tomorrow I'm not here for math. It's my daughter's dentist appointment. Her braces are coming off tomorrow. I'm super excited for her, so I'm going to leave early. I'm still coming in. I'm gonna leave around 12:30 tomorrow and go take care of that and be with her for the rest of that day. I do have, my principal is going to step in for me. I do have my sub plans written out, and in the morning, tomorrow morning when I come in, I will gather all the supplies that will be needed for tomorrow's math lesson for comparing numbers. And today, at the end of the day, I did have a parent come in, a parent that's also a teacher, and she did this mango lassi recipe with my students. A lot of the kids really enjoyed the recipe, which was awesome. I'm going to put the link for the recipe down below. They really did a good job sitting and listening and participating. I'm so proud of them for tasting it. Some of them had seconds. That was great. And she was great, of course. I mean, she's a teacher, so I knew she was going to be great. So that worked out really, really well. And then some kids got to play. That was awesome. So we got a lot done today. It was a productive day. It was a good day. It is late. I am tired. I'm ready to go home. I hope you had a good day. I will see you tomorrow. Bye. Hello. I wanted to quickly jump in here. It is Saturday. It is about 5 p.m. I think. I don't have my watch on me. But I just wanted to stop in and say I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to record yesterday. I went home early. I took my daughter to her dentist appointment. She had her braces taken out. Super exciting day. I wasn't here after school, so I didn't get to record. But my principal subbed in my classroom yesterday, and she had them for art, and I was super jealous because I love art class. I'm sorry that I missed art class. And the kids did a great job, and I could see their artwork, and I'm going to go ahead and share that with you right now. It was really great to see that they had a good day as well. I hope you had a good Friday. I'll see you guys on Monday. Bye.